Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles, and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is Kwame Brown proven that the big media can be beaten? So that's the topic I'm going to get into today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, make sure you check out Dreamerspro Max, an online sports community, a place you can go and start basketball discussions, chat live during games, which we'll be doing all throughout the playoffs, and so many other cool things. If you guys are interested in that, be sure to check that out. We have that link in the description below and get 7 days of access. Also, make sure you go ahead and click the join button to join the channel to receive loyalty badges. So whenever you leave a comment, we see it and you stand out. So make sure you guys go ahead and do that. Anyway, let me get into this story here. Because this story has been percolating throughout the news for the last 48 hours or so. This story really grew some legs. Now, listen, we take pride, Marco and I, we take pride in being honest when we're given our critiques and when we're talking about sports. We really do. We really do. And we're beginning to understand that there's a segment of people out there that truly appreciate, fair and balanced sports media, sports discussions. There are people out there that are just tired of it. They're tired of the agendas. They're tired of this guy not want to say this because he may be cool with this guy, and this guy doesn't want to say that because maybe too much of a fanboy. People are tired of it. People are getting tired of it. And this Kwame Brown story is beginning to prove that, listen, this big media where you see these main figureheads that we all know of, the big faces that we all know of, that people want something else. Like, those guys are great, but people are starting to get tired of it. Like, people are really have gotten to the point where they're beginning to get fed up. And I think a lot of these independent media companies are going to really feel like, listen, we can kind of pierce the veil and figure and carve out our own niche out here. And there's space for us too, because if you listen to these big media heads, you get the sense that their opinions are the end all be all for all of sports, discussions. And whenever you go out there, whenever people leave comments on your channel and stuff like that, just usually repeating what they hear these guys say. So now we're getting to the point where the smaller guys can actually go out there and compete with some of the bigger guys. So let me get into this story and really draw a comparison here. So let's talk about this Kwame Brown drama. Now, for those of you guys who may not know who Kwame Brown is, right? Kwame Brown, when he was drafted into the NBA, he was drafted at the age of 17, if I'm not mistaken, to go play with the Washington Wizards. He started playing in the NBA in 2001. In 2001, Michael Jordan was also playing with the Washington Wizards. And the stories are as follow. When Kwame Brown started playing around MJ, because he's such a demanding personality, he can be very, very harsh. They're saying that he had a negative effect on the psyche of Kwame Brown. And they were saying that had Kwame Brown had he not started his career playing with Michael Jordan, maybe he started in another place, not being in a situation where there's so much expectations because you're playing with Michael freaking Jordan, he would have had a better career trajectory. So things didn't really work out for him in Washington. Then ultimately he went to go play with the Lakers. So Laker fans will remember Kwame Brown. When he was playing with them, he also played with Kobe Bryant. He was also cool with Kobe Bryant. He played in LA for 3 years with the Lakers, and then ultimately he bounced around the league. He ended up playing with the Memphis Grizzlies, the Detroit Pistons, the Charlotte Bobcats, the Golden State Warriors, and ultimately he finished off his career. His last year that he played in the NBA, he played with the Philadelphia 76ers, and I think he played for 13 years as a professional basketball player in the NBA. So he had a very long career. And, he did his thing to the best of his abilities, right? So we know that. Now, Kwame Brown, whenever you think of him, you think of who? Stephen A. Smith. Because Stephen A. Smith really made a name for himself by really making fun of Kwame Brown, right? The whole thing that he said about him. He's a scrub. He can't play. Y'all remember the infamous thing that Stephen A. Smith did about Kwame Brown. And it stuck with him all throughout his career. He became kind of stigmatized because of it. Now, he wasn't a great player by any stretch of the imagination. He was a good enough player. He played for 13 years, so you got to be able to play at some level, on some level, but he wasn't a great player, right? And then, what happened? Kwame Brown disappeared. He hadn't played basketball in at least 7-8 years. Then what happened? Jeannie Buss was on all the Smoke podcasts with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. And these guys are very raw and brazen and all of this stuff. The whole beef for this entire situation with Kwame Brown and these guys comes from what happened. It stems from really, what was said on this podcast. So before I go too far, I want you guys to take a listen to the exchange between Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson, and Jeannie Buss, and the comments that Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes made that really got Kwame Brown infuriated, and which really set up this entire firestorm. So before I go too far, take a listen to that soundbite.
Then Pau came in February of 2008, and Pau, that was having Pau Gasol, who was, he was Rookie of the Year. So here we went, right before the trade deadline, we get Pau Gasol, and then we just went on a tear. Like, Pau learned the triangle in 2 days. Super smart. And it was like.
Did you guys thank Jerry? Because wasn't Jerry over in Memphis and gave you guys Pau?
Well, we traded Marc Gasol.
Yeah, that's what people,
right?
You got him for nothing, not realizing that what you guys gave him was Marc Gasol.
And Kwame Brown. And so.
Marc Gasol.
And.
Right,
do you played with Mark?
No. That was a one-man trade. You just used the name. That name was just there.
So now we get Pau. We go on this run.
Now in that clip, which you won't see because again we don't own the rights to that clip, so we can't show you the video because it's owned by All the Smoke podcast. What you'll see when Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson are making their comments is that Matt Barnes taps Steven Jackson on the leg like, yo, like as a joke, right? And they were basically making fun of Kwame Brown, saying, listen, this dude, don't even mention him. You only traded for Marc Gasol, because that dude, he was so trash that it's like he was basically a zero. Like, he was just a throw-in. He amounted to nothing. That's the part that Kwame Brown heard that set him off. Once he heard that, he started going at him. And what happened? Just about 2 days ago, Kwame Brown went on YouTube and started addressing Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes. And all of a sudden, before you knew it, the beef between these guys gained so much traction that somehow it ended up being discussed on Undisputed yesterday by Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless. Think about this. This is one of the biggest sports shows in the United States, and they're talking about this beef between Kwame. Now, the only reason they're talking about it is because of the response of Kwame Brown. This interview had already taken place, but because he responded to it and it was beginning to gain so much attention, it actually made his message even more profound, to the point where Matt Barnes came back and responded, and Steven Jackson came back and responded, and it proved something to me. It proved to me that these big and mighty media companies can be affected. Their personalities can be affected by someone that's not within the loop, so to speak. Kwame Brown is not on Undisputed. He doesn't have his own podcast. He doesn't have his own sports show. But he goes out there and he speaks his side of the story. He tells his side of the story. And all of a sudden, this becomes big news, to the point where he went so far as to even go at Stephen A. Smith, saying that he would physically assault him and all of these different things, right? You guys can go out there and hunt down the audio of him saying it, to the point where Stephen A. Smith had to respond on ESPN. Think about this. This is what it did. Kwame Brown by himself was able to accomplish this. And when I was watching his videos and looking at some of his lives, I was looking at the comments and the likes. People actually support this guy. Funny enough, so many people support Kwame. People are sick and tired of it. Like, there's a group of people out there that have had enough. They're tired of these guys and their agendas and their cliques and they're tired of it. People want something else. They've heard enough of it. Most of these dudes have already been exposed, man. We've already seen your insides and all of it. They've already been exposed. And Kwame's proving that these guys are not invincible. They're not. Because for y'all to respond to Kwame Brown, it shows that he's gaining traction. Just yesterday on his YouTube page, he picked up 10,000 subscribers. Think about that. 10,000 subscribers in one day. 250,000 views in one day. That's what Kwame Brown was able to generate all on his own. All on his own. And for me, I think some people find this to be refreshing. I believe that's the reason why some of you guys come to our channel. Now, some people hate it. Some people dislike our channel because we're not saying what the Nick Wrights and all of these other guys, the Stephen A. Smith and all these other guys are saying. And people are, you know, and some people don't like that because they want more of that. They're so used to being, you know, spoon-fed, you know, this particular type of information that they love, that they expect wherever you go, they should be hearing the same thing. And when they stumble across a channel when somebody else is saying something completely different, they can't deal with it. They're like, well, this guy talking about, he's a hater. That's what happens. But it's proven that these guys have had enough. People have had enough. People are tired of it. People don't want to hear it anymore. And for Kwame Brown to generate this type of attention to the point where Steven Jackson and these guys, and let me just say this quickly before we close. I listened to Steven Jackson's response. I listened to Matt Barnes' response. This is what I keep telling people, and people are not understanding. People are getting turned off by the flagrant disrespect that these media people have for people that they believe, that they think are below them. People are tired of it. People are tired of it. Even when Steven Jackson and these guys were responding, they were being condescending. They were still making fun of him because they feel like, who are you? They were saying, you wish you where we were, look at what your truck you're driving. That's what they feel. Still condescending, still looking down on people. And that's the reason why the general public is siding with them. People don't want to hear it anymore. They don't want to hear it anymore. They're tired of it. They're tired of it. When Steven Jackson and these guys were laughing at Nate Robinson when he got knocked out, it was funny, right? It was hilarious, right? Now it's happening to you. It's not so funny anymore, is it? Because now they're coming for you. Now all of a sudden you're on the defensive. He said that Nate Robinson is his friend. That's his homie. If you're my friend and you see something like that happen to me and you laugh, you're not my friend. I don't care what you say. And if y'all have friends that will laugh at you when you get knocked out, they're not your friends. They're not your friends. Now the difference is Nate Robinson didn't go out on social media and get at these people that were talking about him. Kwame Brown did. And Kwame's proven that these guys are not invincible. He has proven that. And he made some very strong points. Very strong points that are very, very, very hard to dispute. Very strong points. He spoke about Steven Jackson and these guys that all they do is talk about black guys. He never sees that same type of fervor when they're talking about white guys. He makes a good point. He talks about Stephen A. Smith. He makes a good point. But Stephen A. Smith, I've heard him go at people. So, you know, you got to be balanced as well. We got to be balanced because I've heard him go at Jay Cutler before. Jay Cutler's a white guy, if I'm not mistaken. He is. So I've heard him go at Tim Tebow and say Tim Tebow's not that good. So I understand it. So it's not like as if, to be fair, he has. But I kind of also understand what he's saying, what he's talking about. So for me, I think it's a fascinating development. And really what I want to know from you guys is, what do you think about all of this? How do you think, whose side are you on? What are your thoughts on this entire issue? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, it's Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day. Catch you guys on the next episode.